بسم الله والصلوات والسلام على رسول الله وأهله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We're going to start off this episode. We're going to talk about Ayyub AS.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. All right.
We're going to start it off with Ayyub AS.
We're going to start it
it's
off
not
with
the
Ayyub
only
AS.
topic of this episode.
This is just to provoke some provoke thoughts in our minds.
Provoke thoughts, ideas, conversation.
Do you know what happened to Ayyub? Let me explain. Long story short, he was sick, lost all his family, but he called Allah by his mercy, and Allah responded to him.
Okay, that's a little too simple, bro. Like, you have to...
But is Islam not simple, brother?
It's simple,
what?
but there's...
Islam is simple. Is that simple?
Listen, but that's not all it was, though. Don't downplay his struggle, man.
It was, yes,
because
the patience. Yes,
you can't downplay a struggle.
The struggle is not simple, but
Prophet Ayyub AS, he went through something. Well, I mean, all prophets went through something, but this man, he was literally tested with something so severe that he literally lost everything. He had an illness that lasted years upon years. He lost all his family. You know, he lost all his wealth. He was actually a very wealthy man before he was tested by Allah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He pretty much had everything in life going for him the way that he wanted it to go. And then Allah, out of his mercy, tested him by taking it all away from him. And through all of this man never wavered. This man never turned away from Allah. He never turned to other than Allah. He called Allah by his mercy. And calling Allah by his mercy is probably one of the greatest things that you could do, because through that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restored everything for him. So restored his family, restored his wealth, restored his health, everything. Everything that he had before, he got it back.
So what would you characterize Ayyub as? What characteristic would you give him?
Patient.
The patient
Exactly.
one.
That's, see, we're all
Ayyub
on the right track.
as-Sabirin.
Exactly. And who does Allah love?
Allah is with the patient people. He
Allah loves the patient. Yeah, Allah is with those who are patient, subhanAllah.
Allahumma sabirin.
Yeah, and Allah, think about this, man.
That's actually something good to talk about. Patience. Patience with the struggle, finding beauty in the struggle.
Because there is beauty in the struggle. What would make it admirable if there was no struggle?
Nothing. There would be no honor in it.
There would be no honor in no struggle.
I'm going to bring this up. Look at Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. This man tried to find his honor, went through everything, lost his family, lost his mom, lost his dad. His dad didn't care about him. His dad didn't love him. And he still found honor. He still found honor in the struggle. Look at us. You know, us as Muslims, we find honor in our struggle because we understand, you know, the struggle,
struggles are not for nothing.
is, you know, it may be a trial from Allah.
It serves a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, we understand, whatever that we go through, it's either an expiation of sins, it cleanses us in some way, shape, or form, or it higher our rank in the hereafter, or even in this world.
So it's like things go without, nothing goes except with benefit.
Dude, just look at the benefit a person brings when he's always patient. Like, I've had a lot of comments even about myself. They're like, oh, you're so patient. And that's just something that I like. And I'm just like, you know.
Or even so in day-to-day interactions, if I were to explode on every single person that did me wrong, dude, I'd be thrown in jail.
Dude.
I've been told, don't downplay someone's struggle. And I'm like, man, I would never downplay your struggle. But your struggle is not something you got to wear on your sleeve. Like, if we're talking about the story of Prophet Ayyub AS, did he wear his struggle on his sleeve? Did he go crying out to other people, like, look what I'm going through, look what God has put me through, like, look at the way I'm struggling, seeking attention for what he's going through, crying?
Did any of the prophets
Did he go on social media and cry online? Like, no, none of the prophets did this.
Your struggle should not define you, and it should not be the first thing that someone knows about you. Oh, when someone's identifying themselves, or imagine they're talking in a group setting. I saw this on a podcast when a woman was like, oh, but I'm a black woman. And then she goes on to describe herself like, why is that the first thing that you mentioned about yourself? Is that all you limit yourself to? Are you not much more than that? And it's like she identifies herself as a struggle. And your struggles don't define you.
It's like being born. You claim to be born with the struggle.
Not even just that. A lot of people even nowadays, they don't want to hear anything about that. Like, dude, nobody cares. Everyone at the end of the day, everyone has their own struggles.
And it's all retrospective to yourself. Like, if us three were to put our problems in a table, we would all take our problems back. Like, I don't want this person, I don't want this person. And it always goes down to the deep human thought. Like, everyone has these thoughts and everyone has these struggles. It doesn't matter who you are.
Because usually when someone goes through a struggle, they only have their own measurements. You know, they only have it to compare against their own struggles. Meaning, even if someone else has gone through this, maybe it's not as severe as what they went through. until you start talking to other people, until you put your problems on the table with other people and you hear what they have gone through. And if it's more than what you've gone through, you're sitting there like, yo, what the heck? What am I talking about? Like, I'm just gonna take my problems.
Exactly. That's why you look at lows lower than you, and that's why social media is very dangerous. Because Emmanuel Wallerstein, he's the sociologist who came up with the relative social income theory. Like, no matter how much money you make relative to other people, say someone's making more than you relative to other people, you will still feel emotionally like
it's just like people who
worse.
make 5 figures, they'll surround themselves with people that make 6 figures, they can still feel sad. Or people that have 6 figures, they'll surround themselves with millionaires, and then those people will feel broke. And the millionaires will surround themselves with billionaires, and then they'll feel broke. And the billionaires with mega billionaires will still feel broke because, you know, they don't have what they have, even though you literally have so much.
The relative income theory, and then look at social media. At social media, you're seeing the literal bio of everyone's lives, like only the good meat and juices of everyone's lives, and you don't see any struggle that they have gone through. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a false image, a false interpretation, a false interpretation of how life is, and it makes people go into the depression. Like this is like, you see it now, like subhanAllah, you see it right in front of your face.
That reminds me of my job when I used to be surrounded by non-Muslims, and they'd look at me and they'd see like, oh, like they'd watch me go and pray. They'd see that I don't listen to music. They'd see that I'm listening to Quran while I'm on the clock. And they see that like I'm very patient with other people, I'm very nice and stuff like this. And then they talk to me, they'd be like, yo, I got a lot of respect for you. Like, how do you do all this? Or how do you not need this in your life? Like, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't commit zina. Like, how do you do all these things? I'm like, man, I got a connection with God. And they'd look at me and they might feel lesser than me. And I'm telling you, like, bro, it's not something hard to achieve. Like, this connection with Allah is free for you. Like, there's no price for you to pay for what I have to do. You might have to give up some of your desires, but I'd rather do that and have the connection with Allah than have my desires and not have Allah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. It's kind of similar to what you're saying. Like, people are surrounding themselves with people who might be better than them, and then they'll feel sad about it. And like me, I'm not better than them, but like I may have something they don't, and I have a purpose. You know, I understand my purpose. I was talking to someone recently, and they're like, and I was like, yeah, everybody has a purpose in life, but see, some people might not be able to figure it out because, you know, they've turned away from the one who created them. And then they were like, really? Everyone has a purpose? And I'm like, yes. Because if you didn't have a purpose, then why are you here?
Could you imagine how depressing it would be to believe that you didn't have a purpose? I just kill myself. Like, what would I do?
I mean, it really is, because like, what in reality, what are you living for? What are you suffering for?
Yeah, exactly.
Like this, at the end of the day, this is still dunya. Like, not everyone is gonna have what they want,
and that's reality.
Well, you see purpose in status, because how come you can differentiate between someone who's wealthy and someone who's poor? How come you can differentiate between someone who's blind and someone who can see? Like, these things, these are not like on accident. Like, these are decrees from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a purpose. You know, the person, like we said before, most of the people who were following these prophets at the beginning were poor people. These were people who didn't have much to lose. Yep. But they had everything to gain. But see, the wealthy people, like the people of Quraysh, they may have been stubborn and arrogant at first to, you know, follow the message of the Prophet ﷺ because they had status, they had wealth. They're like they had, like the people of Mecca, they had Mecca. They didn't want to lose that. They would have lost it. They would have lost their power if they had given in to the message of Islam. So they decided to fight the Prophet for it. And what happened? They lost.
You know what this reminds me of?
Because they were fighting with no purpose.
Even a current day billionaire that I know, his name is Grant Cardone. He talked about when you're broke and you have no money, you want to hustle. Like, you're just like, get it on. I really have nothing to lose here. But once you hit that first million, you feel like you're broke now, because you're just like, you start going into a conservative mode, because you're like, oh, I got to save everything. You know, I can lose it. I got the million now. I can lose it. I don't want to lose it now. And then that's when you start like shutting everything out around you. And this right here is obviously very dangerous, right? Because, you know, when something good comes to you, you're just like, no, I don't want it. Like, I just got to protect whatever I have here. You know, there's nothing more to it. There's nothing less to it.
You're hasty, subhanAllah. And that's why Allah says in the Quran, mankind is ever hasty in nature, subhanAllah.
Let's even talk about like a few of Prophet Musa a.s. enemies, Qarun and Fir'aun, two people who had wealth and status. What does Allah say about Qarun in the Quran? You know, a dude who, he had such a beautiful voice when reciting the Torah, but he became arrogant and he became a hypocrite because he thought all the wealth and knowledge that he had was from himself, and that Allah would not have granted it to him if he didn't want it, or if Allah didn't want him to have it. I mean, he gave no thanks to Allah. He was like, oh, if Allah didn't want me to have it, He wouldn't have given it to me. So it's like he got it himself. And then what happened? The earth swallows him. And Allah says in the Quran, there were people before him who had more power and more wealth and more status than him. But yet he's not heeding to this message.
Even today, do we not see that? Do any rich person, any person in power, any nation, do we not see the ancient societies that were before? Look at the ancient Egyptians, how magnificent they were, how magnificent their societies
And
were.
we can't even copy that.
And we can't even copy them. And we're still trying to understand how the Great Pyramid of Giza is built. We're still trying to understand this. But where are they now?
Dead. Gone. Perished.
Keep going.
Waiting
But you understand the point, and this is a claim that the Quran made. Like, you do not see what happened to those people before them, and does this not make them think? Does not make them take heed, or are they arrogant, or are they somehow different in nature? How are you different? Explain to me.
Or even what it says, like the people of Thamud, like, do you see any signs of them today? Like, these people were destroyed,
completely erased.
And where are these people now? Like they had such heavy arrogance, and now look where it ended them. Like at the end of the day, like you're gone.
That's what I was gonna bring up. The point is arrogance. Arrogance is the enemy of patience, which we brought up earlier today. Like someone is arrogant and ignorant to the fact that God gave them everything, and then God gave them everything, like things that you couldn't even comprehend. And then once they don't get that one thing, or they don't have enough like they're too arrogant to have patience. They're like, no, I'm too high. I need this right now.
No, because look at it like from a personal perspective. Like I even used to have friends where I would do the most that I can for them, and everything that I could give them, I would do it. But then that one time I couldn't give them something, it's everything else didn't matter, and it's just you were ungrateful. And indeed, mankind is ungrateful to their Lord.
No, it's crazy how, kindness can even make you feel guilty. I remember I used to give people rides, and I didn't charge for gas money because, I was just being nice. I'll give you a ride if you need a ride, even though I'm not going to where you're going. Mm-hmm. And then the one time I couldn't give someone a ride, it felt like, they were upset with me or something like that, or they resented me. And I'm like, yo, hold on. Bro, I can't give you, I can't help you right now. What do you want me to do? And then these are the same people who have either turned away from Allah or they don't know Allah at all. And I'm sitting here man, see, you guys are ungrateful. You guys are not only ungrateful to me, but you're ungrateful to the one who created you. I'm sitting here I'm doing something nice for you. I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart for free, for the sake of Allah. But then when I can't do it, you're sitting here and you're resenting me. These are for people who resent their parents if their parents can't do something for them, or if their parents tell them no. When you get told no, those people who they grow up with wealth, they get everything they want. As soon as they don't get what they want, they resent their parents. They show hatred towards their parents.
That's so disgusting. It's so ugly to see. Just imagine the people who brought you up, and they can't come for you the one time, and it's just it's the biggest deal in the world. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. It's what I brought up in a previous podcast episode before. It's if a man can't treat his mother right, what makes you think he's going to treat you right, and vice versa. The same thing, if a person can't be grateful to their Lord, he's going to be grateful, he's not going to be grateful to mankind, and vice versa.
And obviously, if he's not loyal to his Lord, how you think you're going to expect loyalty from him? Man, you it's crazy.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. Whenever I go through a struggle, Shaytan is strongest when you're struggling. Because
I want to you brought up Shaytan. I think it goes over a lot of Muslims' heads that Satan is a clear enemy declared by Allah to humankind, and that we don't we don't seek. I feel a lot of people, they don't even think about this on a daily basis. He's a clear enemy to you. And then, okay, continue your point.
And look, I was going to add on to the point.
When you have hard troubles.
Well, you go first.
Shaytan, he's very patient. He'll sit there, he'll wait even up to your deathbed to try and get you to commit kufr, or sit there and commit shirk.
The proper term is persistent.
Or persistency, At the end of the day, he's going to try to execute what he needs to do. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, persistence. That's actually a good way to put it. Shaytan is persistent because even when you're doing good, he'll try to get at you. When he can't, he'll wait for something to strike you, a calamity to strike you. Mm-hmm. And the reason why calamities from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are a test for us, you know, a test of our faith, or a test for us to see if we'll turn to Allah, is because that's when Shaytan will be able to come to you and he'll be able to say, like, he'll be able to try to convince you that he can turn you away from this calamity. He can make it better for you temporarily, obviously. He can promise you things that are fake, like beautify things that are not good for you in a way for you to turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever I'm struggling, I can feel that. Like, this is subjective, obviously, but I can feel this. Like, let's say, if I'm really sick, I'll be sitting there thinking like, damn, why am I sick? Like, come on, man. Like, I'm a healthy person. You know, I do my things. I pay my taxes, bro. Like, I pray 5 times a day. Like, this type of stuff. But then I'll sit back and I'll think, I'll be like, nah, this is, you know, that's Shaytan speaking. That's not me. You know, this is not from my own nafs. Like, this is West. Shaytan telling me, like, you shouldn't be sick right now. You should be good, chilling. Like, why is Allah making you sick? He's going to implement these types of thoughts into your head so that you start questioning your Lord, questioning why Allah has put this calamity upon you.
What do you guys consider to be like a calamity?
Hold on. Let me add on to this. Shaytan also likes to strike. What?
Go ahead.
What's the issue? All right, anyways. But yeah, the Shaytan likes to especially strike at the times when you feel the most lonely, because it's just the best time to strike, you know. Like, for example, a sheep in its group is not going to be attacked by a wolf, but a sheep that roams off by itself, that's the one who's going to be attacked by the wolf. And the same thing with the Shaytan. You know, if we're not surrounding ourselves with the best people or good people around us, the Shaytan will come and attack us, because we're in our most vulnerable state right now. We have no one there to remind us about Allah. We have no one there to keep us in check.
Okay. Now I'm gonna bring up your point back again. What do you guys consider to be a calamity?
Well, are you gonna differentiate between calamity and hardship?
Like, what would you consider what are your thought process when going through a calamity? How would you identify that thought process?
Well, understanding that this is something out of the ordinary.
Like, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, what the heck am I even doing here? Like, what's my even, like, when I start questioning myself and I start questioning reality. And that's why you say, like, Shaytan, like, he'll always come to you when you're at your lowest point. Why? Because that's when you're most easily movable. But like, because you always hear it now, like, change is always apparent when you're at your lowest point. Like, when you're at your lowest, that's when change happens. But like, change is not always something that's good.
Yeah.
Change can be bad. Like you just said, Satan will come to you at your lowest point. And so it's like that. Those are ultimately the battles of this world. Those pearls that are in this dunya, that you can find faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and like actively choose, even though you're at your lowest, you choose, like, you just say alhamdulillah. Like, remember that time you got into a car accident and you called me, you said, man, alhamdulillah, man, subhanallah. And that was it. That was the comment. Like, go ahead. I
mean, yeah, I say subhanallah, but like, I get out the car, I'm laughing. You know, it's not even like I was gonna sit there, I was gonna cuss this lady out for, you know, running the stop sign or anything, because I'm just like, I understand that, like, this is only temporary. Like, better things will come. Like, whether that be here or later on. And I ended up getting exactly what I wanted and more than that. Like, I was very content. And like, I remember, like, right before the car accident, I had like watched a video reminder. It was talking about if a person is very thankful to Allah in the slightest way, he doesn't even need to say alhamdulillah, but if he's grateful, then Allah will always increase them. And like, I really like took that and like it stuck with me, so that I was just like, wow, like I'm very like grateful for what I have. And then I lost my car, and then I ended up getting the better one that I was always looking at. Like, it's subhanallah, it's crazy how things like that work.
This is something crazy, because when you go through something, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can understand, like, okay, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, something good, better will come out of it. But the thing is, when you think like that, don't think like, you know, the better thing's coming tomorrow or it's coming in the next hour or something like that. So that's where the sabr comes in, is because, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will put you through something and you may not get what you want right away, but the better thing will come eventually. See, that's where, like, you know, the patience of Ayyub AS came in. Like, he lost everything. He probably he didn't know that he was going to get it back. But, you know, calling Allah by His mercy, understanding that, you know, this is all a trial from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, he was able to do that, and then he was able to patiently wait for, you know, the decree of Allah to come and to restore everything that he had before. And I guarantee you, him losing everything and then gaining it back would have felt way better than him just having it the whole time.
Yeah,
because then you learn to be thankful for stuff. You learn to have shukr.
Yeah, and like this is always a good point to bring up, because it's just like the one who always grew up rich and the one who struggled his whole life to get rich. Who's gonna appreciate the wealth a lot more? Obviously, the one who struggled for it, because they know what it's like at the bottom. They know what it's like to struggle, and you know, they always say like it's not the destination that's the best part, but it's the journey itself, because it's where you grow the most. It's where you change the most. It's where you start feeling like, you know, the best. Like imagine if life actually had no hardship. Like, be a whole lot of nothing.
Exactly. Like if life didn't throw you any curveballs, bro.
And it's ultimately that hardship that makes Jannah worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like subhanAllah, like going. It's what makes the hardship worthwhile too, because you have patience, knowing that better things are coming no matter what.
Okay. Yeah, you know, good things are coming. But see, if you didn't have no hardship, if life was never throwing you a curveball, if life was never kicking you sometimes, then who would you be as a person? You literally just be someone who went through nothing. You'd have no nothing.
Substance.
You had no personality. There would be nothing to like who you are, because you'd have nothing to say that shaped you if everything in your life was good. Because then everybody else would look at you and just be like, yeah, okay, you have everything made out for you. And that's how some people do look at things. Like even the wealthiest of people will have to go through stuff. You know, there's a reason why a lot of wealthy people will start feeling depressed or unmotivated with their life. Because yeah, you've achieved the stuff that you wanted, but it's not fulfilling because you're not achieving your purpose. You know, see, like if you look at a lot of wealthy Muslims, you know, Muslims who are upon the truth, right? A lot of them, they donate so much of their money. But how much can, like, when you look at something like that, you understand they take this wealth as, you know, it's Allah's wealth. This is wealth given by Allah. And that's why you donate it, because, you know, this is Allah's deserving of that. This is an act of worship. You know, giving your zakat or giving your sadaqah. This is an act of worship. You know, you're showing your thanks to Allah, showing your shukr once again. You know, with the patience will come the shukr, because you'll have the ease from the hardship.
And it's even like some people, they'll be afraid to give like their sadaqat, like, or voluntary money, because of the temporary decrease in their like account or in their wealth. But the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam says there's no one who gives in charity except that
it increases.
Like, no one ever loses wealth when they give in charity. Yeah. And it's like that patience. You just realize like patience is such a big
ultimately
thing.
You're just investing in Jannah. You're investing in your akhirah. You're investing in your reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The thing is, even with me, whenever I give sadaqah, I'll see like I'll either get the money back increase, or I'll get other stuff. Then I won't notice it till later, till I've reflected. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. This could be like, you know, this is obviously a blessing from Allah, but this may have came from such and such, from me donating this or whatever. And you know, it's those types of reflections that show me like, see, indeed, even at the times that, you know, like anytime I'm just doing something for the sake of Allah, good is always coming out of it. Like nothing bad comes out of doing something for the sake of Allah. You know, if you were to lose a job, Allah will replace it with a better one if you just turn to Him. But if you turn to other than Allah, how can you seek to do better? How can you seek to be in that, live a fully happy life, live a fulfilled life if you're turning away from Allah? Mm-hmm. If you're turning to other than Allah whenever something afflicts you. Now, that's why I say, like, I understand there are struggles out there, but the Prophet ﷺ said for a reason to look at those who are lesser than you. Like, don't look at your struggle and think that you're going through the worst thing that a man could possibly go through. There are people who have gone through less. And if who have gone through more. And if anything, the Prophet ﷺ went through more than anything that you could think about. And let me tell you something. Think about how many times the Prophet ﷺ said that he wished he had his parents around, or he wished he had so-and-so around, or he wished he had this, he wished he had that. You won't find that. Because what did he do? He preached Islam. He preached the message of Islam. And obviously the plan of Allah did not have his parents involved in that. And that's why they were taken from him. His children were taken from him, all except for one. But see, like these types of things, look at what he had to go through, and you don't see him complaining about it. You don't see records of him complaining about it.
Or you don't see him giving up just because something hard afflicted him.
But you know what you can't see? There are reports of him
extreme perseverance, extreme perseverance, extreme persistence. Like you just said, reports of him crying for the ummah and for people that he hasn't even seen yet.
Seen or met.
Or met yet. Like think about the selflessness of this person. Or he didn't go and say someone, you don't know my struggle, you don't know my burden. Like come on. He is the epitome of pristine perseverance and like subhanAllah.
Just looking at who the Quran was sent to. I mean, just the Quran was sent to him. He was given the message. Why was the message given to him? What does that show us? What does that show us about him as a person?
Shows that there was no one who could bear the message except for him.
Or he bared the weight of the Quran, bared the weight of revelation. Well, he was a messenger, he was a prophet. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
See, and with that, like those are things you have to understand that even that was a struggle. Him having to receive revelation because he didn't choose that. Allah chose him. And he had the free will to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at any time, but he didn't. He chose to convey the message and he chose to do it in the most perfect manner. And that's the decree of Allah, but that's not, Allah didn't make him do any of it. You understand? Like, and Allah makes this evident in the Quran that had he made up lies, yeah, Allah would have destroyed him. But he didn't make up any lies, and that's why he was able to complete the message. Yeah. And it's just something to think about, because I know I've said it before about, like, you know, the struggles. Like, oh yeah, everybody wears a struggle on their sleeve. Like they say, you don't know what I've been through. I understand. I don't know what you've been through. But see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you through something, you already know. He knows exactly what the outcome is, whether it will destroy you or whether it will make you better upon your deen. And the choice is upon you, because you have the free will to do to make the choice after that thing afflicts you. So with that, you have to take into account that Allah is all knowing of what's going to happen, and Allah will know if you turn away from him or if you turn to him, or if you plan to turn away from him or turn to him. And you turning to him, it will benefit you in a way that you can't imagine, because you turning to Allah does not benefit Allah in any way. You know, Allah only seeks to lighten your burdens, to make it easy upon you. You know, the hardship is a test from Allah, and he will seek to make it easier upon you.
SubhanAllah.
Come on, like,
SubhanAllah. I don't know.
SubhanAllah. You got to keep talking though.
I don't know what else to say.
How?
I don't know what else to say.
Allah is your Lord, and you have nothing else to say. What did you just say before the episode started? I'm about to call you out.
What?
You
What
just
did I
said-
say?
You said something.
Oh,
What are you doing? You're not gonna let me talk?
go ahead.
Did you
debate
not
here,
say
Dad.
that when you're talking about, how can you not talk about the Quran when you're talking about life?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about life right now. That's what you're talking about.
Heck nah.
Yeah, see, I called you. I called you out.
Caught him slipping. I mean,
SubhanAllah.
There's a hold on. There's a verse. What is it? It's in Surah Al-Baqarah, I think.
all right, which verses with the local? Let's go.
It's obviously talking about hardship, because that's the topic of the episode.
وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. We will surely test you from something of hunger and fear.
I mean, there's that one, but there was another one I
Also
was thinking
love.
of. There was I can't remember even the translation right now, but I know it's in, I believe in Surah Al-Baqarah,
What are you thinking about? What is it, the premise of it?
that Allah will help you.
Oh, إلا تنصروه فقد نصر الله الله. Oh, you're talking about مسحتهم البأس والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الذين آمنوا رسوله. I know the translation. Hardship had befallen them, and they were shaking until the believers and the messenger that was with them said, where is the help of Allah? And then indeed the help of Allah is near. What are you talking about?
See, something like that is when I've had a situation where I was like, you know, like Allah, I need you. Like, I need you now. Like, I can't wait no longer for your help. And you have to understand that when you call out to Allah in a manner like that, with a lot of passion, a lot of love, and a lot of fear for your Lord, especially through what you're going through, and you understand that you're going through this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, know that Allah hears you, and Allah wants to hear that. And I think it's in hadith. Prophet ﷺ said, like, call out to Allah, because Allah is shy towards towards the believers. He doesn't want to turn away. He doesn't want you to turn away from him.
In the Quran, it says, and your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you.
Yeah. Like, Allah does not want to turn away your supplication. So you calling out to him, especially when you feel like that, that's what Allah wants. Because you incline towards Allah, you only incline towards Allah. Like, you don't turn to your neighbor, you don't turn to your parents, you don't turn to your friend or whatever and be like, yo, I need this and I need this. You don't turn to them with something that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can provide you.
Like, yeah, you don't ask your neighbor for Jannah. Like, come on, brother.
Now, see, it'd be different if you were to call out for Allah's help and then they end up coming into your life or something and then they could help you. But see, if you turn to them before you turn to Allah, then like, what type of person are you? You show your reliance upon other than Allah. Like, you have to have tawakkul in Allah. Like the reliance upon Allah, it lies heavy. It's a heavy burden to bear because it's it's not something easy to build.
It's something like
it's not something easy
it deals
to build,
with your faith.
You know?
It's like something you have to have true iman for. Like the Sahaba, man, epitome of tawakkul. They gave their lives for Islam because they trusted in Allah and His promise.
They feared Allah. They relied upon Allah so much that their fear, had them preparing for Ramadan months in advance. That type of stuff, so that they could see Ramadan. But inshallah, with that being said, I was gonna close out this episode. This brother looks so tired, bro. Look at him. He looks like he's about to die. But yeah, subhanAllah, that's gonna close this episode. Speaking about struggle, mentioning the story of Prophet Ayyub AS. And with that being said, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Make sure you guys like this video, share it, subscribe, send this with your friends and family. You don't know whose life you can change by sending this video. We're still students of knowledge. We're not scholars, so we're open for correction. That being said, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.